Hi everyone, thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 445 days, Ukraine defends itself against the Russian invasion. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky visited Germany yesterday, reports European Pravda. He met German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier and Chancellor Olaf Scholz. He also traveled to the German city of Aachen, where he received the Charlemagne Prize. At a joint briefing with German Chancellor, Zelensky said that this year it is time to determine the end of the Russian-Ukrainian war by making the defeat of the aggressor irreversible. The president stressed that it should end in a just and honest peace. He thanked Germany for the largest security package since the beginning of the full-scale invasion in the amount of 2.7 billion euros. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said that the withdrawal of Russian troops is a necessary prerequisite for establishing peace in Ukraine. He stressed that Ukraine is ready for peace, but Kyiv does not want this to mean some kind of freezing of the war and dictates from Russia. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The president of Ukraine believes that the armed forces have almost enough assets and weapons to start moving forward and that Ukrainian defenders are primed for success. He was reminded of his earlier remark that Ukraine needed more weapons to launch a counteroffensive. Zelensky answered briefly that he needed several more visits to European capitals and Ukraine would have enough. For example, Zelensky said he believed in the success of the future agreement to supply Ukraine with fighter jets. According to the president, that is partly what his visit to European capitals are aimed at. We are not talking about superiority. Today, Russia has the advantage in the Ukrainian sky, but our task is to be powerful in airspace, stressed Zelensky. The Ukrainian leader also reacted to the Washington Post's report that he allegedly suggested occupying Russian villages to gain leverage over Moscow, as well as blowing up the Druzhba oil pipeline. Zelensky denied this report. He added that Ukraine is not attacking Russian territory, saying that it lacked time and spare means, and had no need to do so. Ukraine's priority is to liberate its own territories. After his visit to Germany, the president of Ukraine traveled to Paris, where he met President Emmanuel Macron, reports Espresso. During the meeting in Paris, two presidents talked about the peace formula, the creation of a coalition of fighter jets, and further military assistance to Ukraine. France announced plans to hand over dozens of armored vehicles and light tanks, including the IMX-10RC, to several Ukrainian battalions in the coming weeks. It is also noted that France takes an active part in EU and NATO measures regarding the training of the Ukrainian military. Yesterday, the Ukrainian forces captured more than 10 Russian positions in the north and south outskirts of Bakhmut, Donetsk Oblast, reports LBUA. According to the Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maler, they cleared a large forest area in the Ivanivske district, capturing the occupiers. She stressed that fierce battles are continuing. The Russian Defense Ministry informed about the death of two of its colonels in one day on 13-14 May near Bakhmut, reports NVUA. Commander of the 4th Motorized Rifle Brigade, Colonel Vyacheslav Makarov, personally led the battle, was seriously wounded and died during the evacuation. Deputy Commander of the Army Corps, Colonel Yevgeny Brovko, allegedly died while repelling attacks. Spokesperson of the Air Force of Ukraine, Yuri Ignat, informed that 3 Russian helicopters and 2 jets were shot down in the Bryansk region of Russia, reports Zahidnet. Ignat said that they were downed by the Russian air defense. He clarified that these vehicles were on their way to carry out a combat mission at the front. Initially, Russian propagandists said that the helicopter crashed because of an engine failure. Later, they acknowledged the shooting down of 2 helicopters and 1 aircraft, blaming it on Ukrainian saboteurs. The Highlights from Ukraine podcast is a commercial initiative of just 2 people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.